everyone, today's video is going to be a collection video, and I really like to do these kind of videos. I know it's been really popular here lately to do ranking your entire whatever, so like ranking all of my highlighters, or ranking all of my eyeshadow palettes, or ranking all of my I don't know, anything. So I really like those videos, and I was kind of planning on doing one of those today, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I went through my collection and it made me really I don't know, sad. It kind of was like a moment, epiphany moment, I guess, that for a lot of the like sections of my collection, categories I guess is the proper word, I don't know how I feel about a lot of the things I own. I know I've used them like once or twice and they're fine, but I'm not confident in being able to fully rank them all because I don't feel like I know them well enough, which was weird. I am already on a no-buy. If you don't know, I've been on a no-buy for 10 months and I've been sticking to it. I haven't purchased anything unless I completely ran out of it. I've done a really good job with that and I'm proud of that. But it just kind of reaffirmed, like, you have too much. You have so much that you don't know. I also think part of that is project panning. I love project panning. I'm not, saying anything against it. But when I project pan, in the past, and I've decided I'm going to change this. I've been so focused on my project pan items that I don't let myself try other things even if I want to. I'm like, I'm not panning that. So it's kind of a change in my mindset with that too. I think I've decided that that's just better for me. But that being said, one thing that I do feel like I know really well is my eyeshadows. Eyeshadow is my favorite part of my collection. I have done a big declutter of my eyeshadow palettes last year. I can link my declutter playlist down below if you want to see that. So if you're like, I want to see you get rid of stuff, I'm not getting rid of anything in this video. I'm just going to show you what I have. I have 44 eyeshadow palettes as of my last inventory, which I posted a few days ago. So I have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I am proud to say that some of these look really used, and that makes me happy. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. So I have this. This was available on Hautelook many times. This is the Stila Tin Pan eyeshadow palette. That's how I got it. So you can see it's just got 10 eyeshadows. It's kind of a rainbow palette, but it's really heavy on the like purple and blue cool tone shades. I don't love this palette, honestly. I am panning this Cases shade right now, but it is pretty. It's really nice in the pan, but I find like these don't blend well and they don't deposit pigments like I would like. I have my beautiful Urban Decay Alice Through the Looking Glass palette. I love Disney. If you don't know, this is a Miko from Pocahontas. I love Disney. So Disney makeup really just draws me in. And here are the 20 shades in this palette. You can see I have Pan on Hatter, and I am currently working on that shade. But these are just beautiful. I feel like this palette is a great mix of neutral and color, which I like. I like a lot of color, if you don't know. I know I'm not that colorful today, really, but in general, I like to wear a lot of color on my my face, and this really does it. Most of these shadows perform really well. A couple of them don't, but in general, I really like that palette. And then I have the Urban Decay Full Spectrum palette. This one wasn't super well received here on YouTube, but I really like it. I do have this shade Minx on my eyes today because I'm using this in my weekly product pan. And I do really like this palette. I feel like most of these shades perform really well. This shade Metamorphosis I was using this week, it's Metamorphosis, sorry. And it sucks, it's terrible. But besides that, a lot of these perform really well. I have this Bump shade. I know people didn't like that because I didn't know this. It's not really my world, but I found out when this palette came out, Bump is something that people call cocaine. So people were like, oh, that's not so good. And Urban Decay is kind of, they have a lot of drug-themed names, I guess you could say. So people weren't proud of that. But I like this palette. I think it's really nice. Yeah. It doesn't have any of those neutrals, so it's all color, but I'm not opposed to that. Then I have the the Glare, it's bad. The sun's out, which is beautiful. This is the Tarte Tarteist Pro. I got this in 2016, actually. John got it for me for Christmas. What I mean by that is John was like, it was 2016. It was our first Christmas together, and he's like, I don't know what to buy you. And I was like, give me your credit card, I'll buy something on Sephora. And that's what we did, and it worked for us. We don't do presents anymore because I love John Mackay. I think he is a wonderful human being, but he cannot buy presents to save his life. I'm in charge of all of our presents for our families. He's just not, it's not one of his talents, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be. But anyway, this is the palette. It is neutral, but it's got some really nice shades. I like to reach into this, but I will say that a lot of times when I do, I'm a little disappointed by it. It never comes out exactly how I want, but I do like it. I know that glare is awful. I don't really know what you want me to do about it, so sorry. But that's a good palette. I like it. This is from holiday of 2017, I want to say. Maybe it was, what year is it? It's 2019. So it was 2017. And this is the Tarte Magic Star palette. It looks like Too Faced is going to be coming out with a palette of a similar design this year. But, you know, it's a really chunky square, and then it comes out like this. I do like these eyeshadows. I recently drew one of them in a project pan, so I've been playing with it some. The face products are okay. I have the bronzer on today. I used this highlighter recently this week, and it just, like, fell away. It was not on my skin very long. But these shades are really cool. Some of them do take a decent amount of building up, but in general, they work really nicely, and they blend well. So I do like that. Again, Disney makeup, I just love it. So this is the Sephora Minis World in Color palette. It came out a while ago. It came with these 20 shades. You can, oh, excuse me, you can use this bag as like a clutch. That was kind of their, like, reason behind the design, but I don't know. I wouldn't do that personally. And I do wear Disney bags almost every day, but I don't like that it says Sephora. I also just don't really use a clutch that often, but here are the 20 shades. Again, we've got a lot of color. You'll notice that in my collection, I do have a lot of color because that's just what I like, and that's what I reach for more often. But these are some pretty shades. Some of them are a little disappointing as far as how they actually work on the eyes, but in general, they work really good, really well. This is the old Urban Decay Ammo palette, so this is relatively old. I got it on sale, so it's got these 10 shades. They're all shimmer. I'm currently working on the shade Shattered, as you can see with that big old chunk of pan. This is a nice palette. I will say these purples do not perform well. I don't know if it's just because it's older or what, but the two purple shades I don't like. But besides that, I do think this is a nice palette, and it's fun, especially for like if you're just looking for a lid shade. I like to go in there. This was my first high-end palette ever. It's the Kat Von D Esperanza palette. I have used up a shade, and I currently have Dog Roses, this copper on my lid. I think it's a really beautiful copper, honestly. This is a weird palette because it's, here it is, sorry. It's got like an odd assortment of colors. You can't really see the Stay Glow is like a green. Again, the sun, it's just really bright today. It's an odd assortment of colors, so it's hard to get a full look out of this palette. Occasionally I will, and I really like it, but a lot of times I just reach in for one or two of these shades, and I like to use it that way too. I have some palettes that way. I know some people don't like that, and that's fine, but for me, the way I use makeup, I don't mind pulling out like 3 or 4 palettes every day to use. It doesn't bother me. So next, I have the Urban Decay Smoked palette. This I got a lot more recently than most people. So it was really big, and then they discontinued it. And right after they discontinued it, I felt like it blew up on YouTube for a while, at least people I watch. A lot of people were talking about how great it was, and I was like, oh no, it's gone. So then it came back. I was like on a sale on Urban Decay, and I was like, I'm gonna buy it right now. And so I did. I do like it. It's got 6 shimmers and 4 mattes. I use this Freestyle shade a lot. I'm currently panning it, and you can see there's some decent pan in there. It's a good palette. I really like to reach into this palette for like my outer corner shades that are really dark. I think that, you know, there's a lot of shades in here that are really pretty that way. I wouldn't do a full look on this just because they are so dark, all of them, and I feel like it would be hard to get a full look that I like. I wear a lot of dark makeup, but I like to have a bright lid at least. So yeah, I don't know that I'd use this entire palette for a look, but I do like it to reach into other things. I have the Anastasia Maya Mia palette. It's been loved, as you can see. This was, I got this so long ago. It was when I still had Birchbox, and I used Birchbox points for it, so I was really excited by that. This was before, I mean, ABH was big, but it wasn't like kind of the pillar of the beauty community that I would say that it is today, because I feel like everyone's just obsessed with it now. This was one of their first palettes, and it is really pretty. It's got a lot of warm tones. I obviously have a lot of use out of this shade. It's called Deep Brown. Yeah. It's what I use in my eyebrows every day. I have a dark brow gel in there today too, so my brows are really impactful. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I use this brow powder as a brow powder a lot. These shades work really nicely. They still blend nicely and they deposit a lot of color, so I like that. I have the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. Kind of like the Urban Decay one. I wasn't that interested, and then I really looked at it, and I'm gonna be totally honest with y'all. If you don't know, I'm from Georgia, the peach state, and they even have a shade in here called Georgia, and like it's kind of southern-esque, like Bless Your Heart's a shade. I feel like there's a couple of others. Maybe it's just Bless Your Heart. I don't know, but it was really cute to me, and so I decided, okay, I would like it. And then it was gone, and I was like, oh man, it's gone forever. I'm never gonna get it. And then it came back, it became permanent. I know people have different feelings about that. That's fine. I was excited because that meant I got to try this palette. And I don't know how I feel about it. I use it occasionally, and I feel like a lot of times I'm just a little disappointed with my look. So there's that. It does smell really good, and I like it, but I'm just not sure I love it, as I love some of my palettes. And then I have this palette. This is the Stila Eyes Are the Window Body palette. It had a beautiful white here, but it fell and broke out. And I'm currently panning this shade. I like these two shades for a lid look. They're beautiful. But a lot of these shades do not blend no matter what I use. I've tried a lot of different brushes, different eye primers, no eye primer, all of that, and they just don't want to blend on me. So this isn't the best palette, really. But there are a couple of shades in there that are stunning. All right, now I'm gonna open my palette drawer. All of those are ones I'm currently working on a project pan on. And so now we're just gonna tackle it. I'm just reaching in. I know people like to organize it, but when I'm watching a video, I don't care how it's organized, so I'm not gonna organize it. The Too Faced Totally Cute palette. Isn't that what this is called? No, it's called the Clover palette. Totally Cute was a 9-pan palette. I don't know where that came from. This was for his dog, Clover. He has a Chihuahua. I love this palette. I think it's a great assortment of shades. I do really like the looks I get. This Clover shade is just okay, but in general, I really like the looks I get. I think they work nicely. They blend well, and they're really pretty. I think it's a unique assortment of shades that still makes sense, and I'm all about the fact that this is for his dog. I know some people are like, that's kind of weird. I'm just telling you, if I ever had a makeup brand, which I don't foresee in my future, but if I did, you can bet your bottom dollar that we would have a Kanga palette and a Hippocampus palette, and it would all be animals and dogs. So yeah, I'm for it. Then I have the Too Faced Gingerbread palette. This is the last palette that I bought. I have received one from one of y'all, but we'll get there. But this was the last palette that I bought, and it was, I wanted it so badly. I bought it last year. I love gingerbread. I like the way it tastes. I like the way it smells. I like everything about it. I think it looks cool. I'm just so here for gingerbread. And this palette, as you'll see as we go throughout, I don't really have that many warm palettes. I don't own Modern Renaissance. I don't own the Huda Beauty one, the first one that came out. I can't think of the name of it. But, so I don't own a lot of warm tone palettes. This is my kind of warm tone. I love the pink. This shade, Hot Toddy, is everything you ever need. Let me just swatch it. I'm not really doing swatches. It is a beautiful coppery pink duochrome. I think that's picking up. It's stunning. I love it on the lid. It's so glittery and pretty. I don't like this Frostbite Me shade because it's kind of a cream, but the shade of it, it's white, so it's hard to use to me. But in general, I love this palette, and I'm really happy. I know it seems like for the holiday this year, 2019, Too Faced is all about that gingerbread. So I'm glad I have it. I think it'll help me not want to buy things this year, but we'll see. I'm not going to because I am sticking to my no buy. Then I have the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons palette. A lot of people don't like this palette, and you know, to each their own. I think it's cute. I bought it because I do like cool tone shades. I have a cooler skin tone, and I like this cool tone shades, but I'm going to be honest, this pink is really what drew me in. I have gotten a lot better about it, but I am definitely one of those people that in the past has really suffered from what like they call the pop effect, where it's a neutral palette with a pop of color and people are like, I need that pink. I did that with this. I really liked the way this Earl Grey looked. I don't love the way it works, honestly, and I liked this Cafe au lait. The other shades are really good. They're just neutral, and I need neutral, and I do occasionally go for a full neutral look, and I like it. It's not really what like inspires me as much, but I like that palette, okay? Then I have the Kat Von D Pastel Goth palette. So here we are. I think there's 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 shades. They're all matte. They work pretty well. I find that they blend well. Sometimes I have to build them up more than I thought I would. So there's that. But in general, they work pretty nicely. And I like them. This is the palette that I'm still in shock about. It's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Riviera palette. One of y'all sent this to me, and I was like floored. She commented on my video, and she was like, hey, I want to send you a palette. I have been using this palette, and I like it, and I think you would like it. And I was like, hey, that's awesome, but that's a lot. I just wasn't expecting it. I didn't know, but I accepted it because she said she really wanted to. And I love this palette, and I love that, I don't know. It's just crazy to me that sitting here in my house, in my office with, you know, way too much makeup, that I affect people in that way. So she sent this to me, and I love it. I love the way it looks. I love the looks I get from it, but I also just love that happened, and it meant a lot to me. I also have the Anastasia Beverly Hills Prism palette. This I bought because it was a weekly wow. I am totally one of those people that buys things because they're on sale, and you shouldn't do that, but I do sometimes. But also I just thought it was a really unique assortment of shades, and I do really like them. I have a hard time getting a full look out of this palette, but I do like to reach into it and pull out some of the shades and play with them, and I like that. Then I have the Urban Decay Electric palette. This I like, but I do feel like there are some duds. These two shades right here, what is it, Chaos and Revolt, suck. They just suck. This one is not that pigmented and super patchy, and this has no base. It's just a silver glitter. But I do like the looks I get from this palette. A lot of them are not eye safe, and that makes me nervous because no matter how much I like makeup, I like eyesight better. So that kind of makes me nervous and makes me not reach for it as much. But in general, I do like this palette, and I think it's really pretty. Next, I have the MAC Nutcracker Suite collection. This is the only Christmas collection I've ever purchased from MAC. That's not true. The Snowball collection came out the year after I got a pigment set. And I got this palette because I thought it was really pretty. Again, this pop of color really drew me in. I like pink eyeshadows a lot. I feel like they look pretty good on me. You can probably tell by my hair color, which, surprise, this is not my natural hair color. I know we're all shocked. I really like pink, so I like this palette. But a lot of times, again, the looks I come out with it are just okay. They're not everything I want them to be. Then I have the Urban Decay Moon Dust palette. This is just a bunch of glitters. I cannot get a full look out of this. I've tried. I've done like a video where I tried to get a full look out of it, and it was just a hot mess. But I like to, if I'm like putting on my makeup and I'm like, you know what I want some pink glitter. This is where I reach for, because I really like these. I think that they serve a purpose, but that's the purpose they serve. They serve as like, if you want some glitter and just to finish up your look, reach here. If you want a palette you can get a full look out of, you're not gonna like this. Plus the packaging is stunning. These are the only ColourPop shadows I have. I've made one purchase. Well, that's not true. I have some Super Shocks. I made one ColourPop purchase one time, and that's all I've ever done. So I have these 5 shadows: Tiki, Checkmate, Kelp Me, Tiny Tangerines. I think this one's called Poodle. It is, and this one is called Blowfish. I thought I had Kelp Me. Isn't this Checkmate? Okay, I just made that up. So it's kind of a weird assortment. They're just ones that I liked. I liked the names of them, and I thought they were cool. That's honestly it. I never reach for it, and I should, but I don't. This is the BH Cosmetics Enhancing Eyes Gorgeous Green Eyes. If you see, I don't have green eyes. I have extraordinarily dark brown eyes. But these were just the shades that I liked the most. And I do like these shades, and I like swatching them. I feel like the pans are so skinny, it's hard to reach into. So I never use it. But I like it, I think. I don't know. I feel like I just need to get more use out of stuff. But when you have so much, it's hard to do that, you know? But we're going to work on. It's a thing I'm working on. This is the H&M Aubergine Dream Eye Color Palette. I have quite a few of the H&M singles, and I really like them. And this is all purples. I like purple eyeshadow. I like eyeshadow. I can say that about almost any color. So I bought this, and I think it's cool. I have gotten a couple of full looks out of it. Sorry, I have some Kanga hair on my lipstick. But not that many, honestly. I don't really reach for it as much as I think I should. But in general, I like it. This is the Too Faced Sugar Pop palette. This palette came out, and I kind of had like, I don't know, an aneurysm or something, and I needed it immediately. I just think it's so cute. I really like the shades. I wasn't dating John at the time, but on our first date, we went and ate, and then we went to like a cupcake shop, and I never had a macaron, and I really wanted one, but I was afraid he would think I was just the like most gluttonous human being ever if I got a cupcake and a macaron, so I didn't. But now we tried to make macarons one time. It was not good. But we go get macarons a lot because of that. So it kind of reminds me of John in that way, even though I didn't know that when I bought this color. But I just like these colors. I think they're pretty. So yeah, I'm keeping it for sure. All right, there we go. This is the Besame Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs palette. It's a beautiful palette. It really is. I love how much thought was put into it. The packaging is stunning. All of these shades are shades that were actually used in the original animation, which is really neat. They're coming out with a Sleeping Beauty one. I made a video about how I probably won't buy that, but this is great. And I just recently pulled it into a weekly product pan, and I loved it. So I love that. This is the Urban Decay Vice 4. They come out with 5 or 6 vices, maybe I think 6. And this is the only one I have, and I really like it. I like Urban Decay shadows. I know, you know, everyone has difference of opinions, but I think they're pigmented and they're nice and they work. And this is just a fun assortment of shades. It's hard to get a full look sometimes, but in general, I can get it and I like it. I have the Balm Jovi Rockstar palette from the Balm Cosmetics. People don't really talk about the Balm, and I don't really know why, because I like them. I think these shades are really soft and powdery, but really pigmented. If you look at the shades themselves in the eyeshadow, they are really neutral, but they still get really pretty looks from them. And this silver Metallica is one of my favorite silvers that I own. I have the Lime Crime Venus palette. So this is my other like really warm tone palette. I said I didn't really have any, but I do have this. This is a beautiful palette. These work really well. They're really creamy and soft. I can't really knock it, honestly. I can't. And then I have the Tarte Rainforest After Dark palette. And here it is. It's great. As far as, okay, sorry. I really like this palette, is what I was trying to say. I really like these cheek products. I think they just perform perfectly. The eyeshadows are pretty good. They're just more neutral, so I don't really reach in for just the eyeshadows. But I do like it. This one, I think I'm the only person in the whole world that bought this palette. It's the Sephora Pantone Universe, what is it called? Modern Watercolors palette. I think this is a cool palette, honestly. I think it's so neat. It's got so many different shades, and they work pretty well. You do have to build them up a little bit, but in general, they show up, and they're pretty, and I like them. So I use them. Then I have this Makeup Forever palette. This is when their artist shades were new. I think they've reformulated again since they came out with those. And everyone loved them. And so I bought this palette and another palette that I'll show you in a minute. And they're pretty good, but they've aged weird. They have like this like weird gummy consistency. It's like they've all hard panned. So they're kind of hard to pick up with a brush now if I don't like scrape them off. But yeah, I like this assortment of colors, though again, I totally fell for the pop effect. I can acknowledge that. But I like it. I like all of these. I kept them. Then I have the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. This palette I bought, but totally because it went on sale. It went on sale and I was like, oh, I'll buy it. I didn't want it because it is all neutral. And like I said, I don't like neutral shadows. But when I use this palette, I absolutely love the look I come up with. I think it's stunning and beautiful and unique. And I think this is like a secret palette that I'm really glad I like just bought it because it's on sale, even though you shouldn't do that. I'm glad I did because I love it. This is the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette. I know people are starting to get rid of this because, well, people don't like Kat Von D anymore. I don't blame you. I don't really either. But they're saying that it's like aged weird. Mine hasn't. Mine is beautiful still. Anytime I pull into this palette, I love it. I love the look I get. It's a rainbow wheel, obviously, and then we've got your neutrals in the middle. This is a perfect palette to me. I can always get a great look out of it. I always love it, and I still do, and I really like that palette. This is the Kat Von D Interstellar palette. So that, well, I guess the Esperanza palette was the first palette I got, but after I got the Mi Vida Loca, I was hooked. And I bought this. I love silvers. I know people are like, oh, every cool tone palette has to have silver, and nobody wants to wear silver. I do. I would like to wear silver on my eyeballs. So I do like this palette as far as that goes. And I do think it's pretty, but it doesn't ever perform exactly how I want. So I think it's more of a formulation issue. But the shades are real nice. I have this Smashbox Art Love color palette. This is like a weapon. Like if I was being attacked and had this in my purse, I'd probably be fine. This one is the fourth one that came out. And it's got different colors. So you can see like each row is its own color. I like this palette a lot. I love the way it's formed out. I find it laid out. I find it very visually pleasing. But I will say that there are quite a few shades that I'm always drawn to, like this green one especially, that never works well. So that way I don't like it, but in general, I think it's really pretty. I have the Kat Von D, Too Faced Smoky Eye palette. I recently pulled this into weekly product pan, and I realized I really love it. It's so cute. The silver is amazing because again, I want to wear silver on my eyes, and I like these other shades. They blend well. They make a great look. It's dark, but it's nice. Then I have the Smashbox Volume 3, Masterclass Volume 3. So this one we had our neutrals and we had our colors. We have the bronzer thing that was like, this was its own kit. I think it still is. People loved it. And blushes. It's all really good. Honestly, I can't really critique it. I have a hard time reaching for it because again, like you want to kill somebody, here's your weapon of choice. But they're really good. This is one of my all-time favorite palettes. It's the Urban Decay Urban Spectrum palette. It's 15 super shimmery shades. I used it's upside down. Nope. Yeah. I used Daybreak and was it Deep End? I think so. Daybreak and Deep End for my sister's wedding because I was her makeup artist. We're using that term very liberally there. But I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. I love all the shades. Every time I use it, I'm obsessed with it. So there you go. My, for sure, most used palette, the Lorac Beauty and the Beast, Tale as Old as Time. This was my pan that palette. So I used it all of the time. You can see we have a ton of pan in here. Almost every single shade has pan. This shade is used up. The other ones are not. I like this palette still. I do. I think this is a great balanced palette. You can get so many good looks. I know. I used it for a year. And I really like it. Honestly, like it a lot. All right. We got 4 more. This was the other Makeup Forever palette I got. And this one was a lot more colorful, and I do like it. I like to reach into this occasionally, but again, it's just aged weird and it's kind of gummy, but in general, I do still like it, and I think it's pretty. I have the Too Faced Super Fun Night palette. This was 3 palettes. I got rid of the other 2 already because I just don't really like them that much, and I think this is pretty, but they just aren't as impactful as I want them to be. Too Faced kind of has an issue with a lot of times their like Christmas palettes are number 1 redundant, and number 2 they're just not the greatest quality. I think the Gingerbread palette is amazing, so I'm not saying that's always true, but this one is not great. I have the Beauty Treats 24 matte palette. If you are looking for a really nice palette that is really inexpensive, this one is great. I reach into it a lot. I always like my look. It's not all matte. There are some like, where is it? Like this one has visible glitters in it, but this is a great palette. It really is. You can get a lot of good looks out of it, so I like it. And the last one is a Disney one, which just seems appropriate. This is the Lorac Pirates of the Caribbean palette. I really love this palette. I think it's a really unique assortment of shades that I can get a lot of good looks out of. Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my favorites. Johnny Depp is my favorite actor. So, big fan. And there we go. Those are all of the palettes I own. This is a long video. I own a lot of palettes, but they're my favorite. I want to, you know, I'm happy to get rid of things if I don't like them. But if I do like them, I'm not going to get rid of them. I want to get use out of them. So there you go. But again, it just shows you how much I have and how little I need to buy more things. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You found it entertaining, hopefully. And if you have any questions, requests, suggestions, or comments, go ahead and leave those down below. But yeah, I'll just see y'all real soon. Bye.